Gorgeous outfit? Let's do it together. Let's do it together. Come on. All right. Queen Kiki here. You're going to take my hand, and we are going to walk that runway, and they're going to throw dollar bills at you like they've never thrown them before. You ready? All right, here we go. Let's walk. Whoa. Yes, Queen. Check her out. Check her out. Oh, you're gorgeous, darling. Now take a bow or a curtsy or whatever you like to do. Oh, gorgeous. All right. My darling, would you like me to do one more song this afternoon?
Yeah.
All right, let's do one more show. And let's keep everyone on the floor because this is so effing cute. And it's like, this is like what they...
What is going on, everybody? Wired here. I hope you guys are all having an excellent, wonderful day. You might not be after that clip I just showed, and I apologize very much for that. This is more proof that our society has pretty much been thrown into the toilet. As you just saw, that was a drag queen influencing a 7-year-old, I believe, to be able to get dollar bills from, adults and whatnot. Now, before I preface this, before people accuse me of transphobia, bigotry, misogyny, all that, I don't think children should be around drag queens. In the same vein that I don't think children should be around strippers. I think there is content that is acceptable for children, and there's content that should be kept away from children. Children's innocence is going to be lost as they grow up. That's a fact. However, it shouldn't be influenced by these people who feel like they should corrupt our children. And I think it's really messed up. It's really sick. And, the more I see, the more I do, everywhere you look almost. With the whole Budlight situation, Nike, Maybelline, bunch of other companies. In our schools, the curriculum is being pushed, is all this acceptance. And there's nothing wrong with acceptance of people who are different, but there is definitely wrong with acceptance of people who are trying to indoctrinate your children into ideas that they don't really understand. I can speak about this pretty freely. I am a single father, and I, alone, raise a 7-year-old daughter. And never have I tried to push on her some other gender or ideology, and if somebody did that, well, then they would probably have more than words. However, I want to talk today about a very courageous young man, a 12-year-old who was banned from school for wearing a shirt that incited violence that said there were only 2 genders. I'm going to read the article, but let me play the clip for you first.
10th grade at Nichols Middle School. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. I never thought that the shirt I wore to school on March 21st would lead me to speak with you today. On that Tuesday morning, I was taken out of gym class to sit down with 2 adults for what turned out to be a very uncomfortable talk. I was told that people were complaining about the words on my shirt, that my shirt was making some students feel unsafe. Yes, words on a shirt made people feel unsafe. They told me that I wasn't in trouble, but it sure felt like I was. I was told that I would need to remove my shirt before I could return to class. When I nicely told them that I didn't want to do that, they called my father. Thankfully, my dad supported my decisions and came to pick me up. What did my shirt say? 5 simple words. There are only 2 genders. Nothing harmful, nothing threatening, just a statement I believe to be a fact. I have been told that my shirt was targeting a protected class. Who is this protected class? Are their feelings more important than my rights? I don't complain when I see pride flags and diversity posters hung throughout the school. Do you know why? Because others have a right to their beliefs just as I do. Not one person, staff, or student told me that they were bothered by what I was wearing. Actually, just the opposite. Several kids told me that they supported my actions and that they wanted one too. I was told that the shirt was a disruption to learning. No one got up and stormed out of class. No one burst into tears. I'm sure I would have noticed if they had. I experience disruptions to my learning every day. Kids acting out in class are a disruption, yet nothing is done. Why do the rules apply to one yet not another? I feel like these adults were telling me that it wasn't okay for me to have an opposing view. Their arguments were weak, in my opinion. I didn't go to school that day to hurt feelings or cause trouble. I have learned a lot from this experience. I learned that a lot of other students share my view. I learned that adults don't always do the right thing or make the right decisions. I know that I have a right to wear a shirt with those 5 words. Even at 12 years old, I have my own political opinions, and I have a right to express those opinions. Even at school, this right is called the First Amendment to the Constitution. My hope in being here tonight is to bring the school committee's attention to this issue. I hope that you will speak up for the rest of us so we can express ourselves without being pulled out of class. Next time, it may not only be me. There might be more students that decide to speak out. Thank you for your time and good night.
Wow. Just wow. I'd like to give that kid a standing ovation. I'd like to shake his parents' hands. Based. Totally based take on this. And I think that's what we're fighting against in this current culture war, where trans rights are literally overtaking everything, where people now wearing a shirt is enacting violence against people somehow. Words are now violence. We just had Lord Voldemort claim that if you misgender him, then that's an act of violence and they should be in jail. That's been said. And yet we have the mainstream liberal media just pretty much covering up for this, saying this is totally okay. All this is all good. But this young man, and I think he's going to go on to do great things. Maybe he'll be a biologist. Seems like he understands biology enough that he can do that. Unlike our Supreme Court justices, our president, this young man knows what's going on. And he brings up a great point. Why are his rights lesser for not saying anything, for wearing a shirt with words on it? Why are his rights lesser? It's really fascinating. It really is. How far we've come in society, where 20 years ago we would have made this utterly ridiculous. Now we're punishing students for wearing shirts. And it's not shirts that say like, Sink Heil, Third Reich, blah, blah, blah. No, it's a shirt that says there's only two gender. A biological fact. And yet that's violence. You can't do that. The big difference between the first clip I showed you and the second clip, which is why I showed you the first clip in the first place, is the dichotomy of it. The fact that for some reason, the first clip is applauded. The second clip is not. The student who knows about, facts, biology, well, they're a bigot. They get taken out of school for wearing a shirt. The other one, with a kid much younger, parading around in drag, is encouraged and applauded by audiences. And the only question I really have for this is, when is it enough? When will this lunacy end? This is not a world I want my daughter to grow up in. I don't want any of your children to grow up in it. I want everyone to live their truth. I want everyone to be positive with who they are. But at the same time, we're now punishing logical thinkers, reasonable thinkers, for what, 0.004% of the population? And we're encouraging this to be pushed onto our children. It's being applauded in some situations. It's sickening. It needs to stop. And I hope it does. And I hope more people like this young man have the courage and the bravery to speak up. They're the next coming up generation. And I applaud this young man and his parents for standing by him. That's all I got for you. Please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. It's going to help with the algorithm. I appreciate you listening this long. Really appreciate it. All that stuff. And I will talk to you all in the next one. Later.